Thanks for joining us. Tov Jewish News. I'm joined with Itamar Marcus, who's the director of Palestinian Media Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So I want to jump right into, I guess, the Palestinian narrative and ideology and where it begins with, because there's some sense that there's a difference between Hamas, who are ISIS or Nazis, and between the PLO or Fatah or the Palestinian Authority as partners for peace.
The atrocities that we saw 2 weeks ago really gave the Palestinian Authority and Fatah an opportunity. If they wanted to, they could have separated from these atrocities and said, you know what, we won't go this far. We're not supporting terror of this kind. But they didn't. They did just the opposite. They jumped in and they wholeheartedly supported it. And the official Palestinian television, which is controlled, they put spokespeople on TV of Fatah who absolutely expressed their pride and joy in what happened, and this is something that your viewers should see.
Yeah, let's take a look at a clip.
بداية نقول لأهلنا ولأبناء شعبنا الفلسطيني صباح النصر، صباح الفرح، صباح العزة والكبرياء. نترحم على شهدائنا الأبطال في غزة وفي الضفة الغربية وفي كل أماكن تواجد الشعب الفلسطيني. نحن نوصل رسالتنا هنا كحركة فتح في محافظة جنين إلى جميع إخواننا وإلى جميع أبناء الشعب الفلسطيني بضرورة التحرك والانخراط في هذه الملحمة البطولية مع الشعب الفلسطيني الذي يمارس حقه الطبيعي في محاربة هذا الاحتلال وتحرير الأراضي المحتلة.
Of thousands of people, and that's a day of joy for the Palestinians. This guy's from Fatah.
Exactly.
Where do they get this? I understand they're bringing the kids up on this ideology.
Yeah, this is so important. This is a day of pride. This makes them proud. They saw Jewish blood, and they are proud. He also called this heroic. He also said that he wants Fatah people everywhere to join this heroic battle. In other words, let's not live. They thought Israel was really shaking here on rocky grounds. They said, we can't let Hamas do this alone. We, Fatah, have to join everywhere. And this is on official Palestinian Authority television, which is controlled. So we know exactly where the Palestinian Authority is. Now, where did this all come from? The children have been brought up on this in the Palestinian Authority. All these 20-year-olds who participated in the terror, when they were 5, 7, 15, they've been learning hatred of Israelis. They've been learning hatred of Jews. It was something fundamental. One of the fundamental messages of the Palestinian Authority to their people is that Israelis are trying to kill Palestinians. We're targeting Palestinians. We're targeting Palestinian children. Now, why is this a fundamental message? Because you take the Jewish saying, if somebody's coming to kill you, you have a right to go and kill them first. The Palestinians tell their people that we are coming to kill them. A child grows up believing the Jews and Israelis want to kill him. There was one television program for children on Palestinian TV, and the moderator says, children, don't go outside without your parents, because as you know, the Israeli soldiers are looking to kill children. So this is how the children have grown up in the Palestinian Authority. So when they grow up this way, when they become 18, when they become 19, when they become 22, they want to go and they feel that they're doing the right thing by killing Israelis. And that's why we have all these celebrations of Palestinians.
We could see a training camp for your small children, instead of teaching them to grow up to be doctors, lawyers. They want to have a gun in their hands. And
yes,
tell me a little bit about the rewriting of history. That's also part of the inculcation and education that they're getting. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the Palestinian Authority teaches its children and teaches all of its people that there never was a Jewish presence in the land of Israel. There never was an Israeli people. They say that the Europeans created Zionism and created the state of Israel because the Jews are so evil that the Europeans couldn't stand them. In one of the editorials in the official Palestinian newspaper, they said that Hitler was the same as Balfour. They both wanted to get rid of their Jews. Hitler didn't have colonies, so he had to murder them, whereas Balfour had colonies, so he sent them and created a colony for Israel. But basically what they say is Jews are so evil. Everybody hates them. Everybody wants to get rid of them. And they went and they stole Palestine and created Zionism. So we have no right to exist because we're a colonial implant. When you hear Palestinian supporters around the world saying that Israel is a colonial implant, it is based on this PA ideology that Israel had no history here and the colonial powers put us here to save themselves from the horrific nature of Jews in their country.
You know, it's interesting you say that because I've seen a lot of reports, especially lately, that have come out that actually show a lot of lack of support for Palestinians. They're people who are not welcomed in almost any Arab country. I mean, we've even seen surrounding countries, they've been refugees there and lower class statuses for decades. What's happening around the world insofar as the Arab media and all that? Is it still monolithic, or have things changed as a result of the Abraham Accords, let's say maybe in the Gulf states?
There has been a change. There has been a change. The Gulf states, either for probably not for love of Israel, but for fear of Iran, have been making all these peace treaties and peace agreements and normalization agreements with Israel because they need Israel to be a partner in any kind of an offensive against Iran, because Iran threatens them as much as they threaten Israel. That's the ultimate goal for Iran: get rid of Israel and then get Saudi Arabia and get the Kaaba to be under the Shiite rule. So the Gulf states, because of that, have been much calmer now about what's going on. We don't hear the terrible kind of celebrations that we would have heard probably 10 years ago had this something like this happened from the Gulf states. In fact, there have been some interviews that we've seen. There was an interview on Al Arabiya, which is a Saudi-owned station. They interviewed Khaled Mashal, who's the head of Hamas outside of the land of Israel, and she ripped into him. How are you killing women and children? How are you killing women and children? So this is a Saudi, it's like Al Jazeera, but it's the Saudi Arabian Al Jazeera. And they ripped into him. So like I'm saying, this is new. This wouldn't have happened a number of years ago. So we're seeing that the entire world was horrified by this, and even amongst the Arabs as well.
So, and if I go back into Palestinian media, Fatah has always, for many years, has been losing the battle in the street with the Palestinian population as to support. This obvious success by the Hamas terrorists has probably pumped up their support in the street, and now the Palestinian Authority is tagging along. Or what do you see happening, let's say, in the future as a result of what's happened, the massacre?
You're absolutely right. This is going to make Hamas much more popular on the Palestinian street. Toward the end of last week, there were already marches in Nablus, in Ramallah, in Tulkarem, all of them marches supporting Hamas through the streets. In fact, the Palestinian police and they were chanting, "We support Al-Qassam." Al-Qassam is the Hamas terror branch. And they were also saying, the president should resign. The president should resign. We want a new president. So this is definitely going to be a major boost for Hamas. If Israel fulfills what it's promising to do and successfully eradicates Hamas from Gaza, the ideology still exists in the West Bank, and I would say even more than that. The ideology of hating Jews, hating Israelis, and desiring to kill Jews and Israelis is going to remain, even if Hamas has made an illegal organization. It already theoretically should be. It's a terrorist organization, but it exists as a political movement. Even if Israel outlaws it as a political movement and it arrests everyone connected to the political movement, they'll give it a new name. They'll create a new name because the ideology of hating, fighting, and killing Jews and Israelis is something that every Palestinian was brought up on, and it's going to take another generation Without any of that in their curriculum or in the messages, for there to be people who could consider making some kind of peace, because they're not going to want to make peace with us.
So if we sum it up, the future looks kind of bleak for eradicating the Palestinian narratives and the Palestinian desire for genocide against the Jewish people in the land of Israel.
As long as the Palestinian Authority is in power, it is impossible to eradicate it. If the Israel gets wise and recognizes that just like Hamas has been destroyed, the Palestinian Authority has to be destroyed, and there has to be, or I would say, replaced by a different leadership who will teach them the truth about the history. There was a Jewish people. We did have a history in the land. We're going to be neighbors. We can live together in peace. Unless someone teaches that, we are going to have war for another generation.
Tamar Marcus, thanks for joining us. There's a lot to do, and we'll probably pick up on that in future talks. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.